You ever had a plan that changed kind of midstream? You know those plans that you make like, well, I'm going to do this and then this and then this. Like, I'm going to mow the lawn and then I'm going to rake up all the leaves and then I'm going to put them all in the bags. Then I'm going to take them all to the curb. And then halfway through the first step, something goes awry. You get an interruption. You get a phone call. A fascinating cat video shows up on your feed. And you just get distracted from what you're doing. And the next thing you know, you're wondering, where did all my time go? Well, what was it I was going to accomplish again? And without a checklist, if you will, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You kind of casually forget all the work that has to be done. Have you ever seen a pilot's checklist before the plane takes off? I mean, it's pretty exhaustive. And they check everything between the pilot and the co-pilot, and sometimes they'll have extra people in the cabin, a navigator, an engineer, flight engineer, and they'll go through the process of every switch, every knob, every light bulb, every piece of equipment that they have to engage before the plane takes off, while it's in flight, and when it lands. They walk through that whole pre-flight checklist. Little check marks for every little piece of it. I don't know how many of those are digital now versus printed, but I remember seeing them, some of them 2 and 3 pages long, depending on the size of the aircraft and the types of things on board, if it was weapon systems or whatever. Checklist. And the purpose of that checklist was really, really clear, and that was to ensure that everything that needed to be verified, checked off, tested, was tested before you got started. What do you think would happen if a 2 or 3 page checklist was just done mentally? Wings, yep, we got them. Mm-hmm. Anybody check the wings yet? Anybody check the ailerons or the flaps? Anybody check any of that yet? How about the tires? Anybody check the tires yet? Right. If there was no checklist, how would you know if it had been checked or not? If there's no checklist, how would you know who to hold accountable for the maintenance of that thing? See, part of the reason that we write out a vision is so that from the vision you can craft a plan, and from the plan you can set your goals. And it amazes me how many people want to set goals who have no vision. They have no idea what they want to do or accomplish in the short term or the long term. Stephen Covey said it best: begin with the end in mind. What is it that you want to get to? I can't tell you how many times I sit down with coaching clients and they want me to help them prepare a speech or prepare their platform, to write their book, to build their website, to build their fan pages, to build their Instagram or social media accounts. And they want to build all those things, but when I say, what is your vision? They're like, I don't want to work on that stuff. I want to work on this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but we may end up with a website that goes this direction and a book that goes this direction and a speaking career that goes this direction, because without a vision, all of those things are just tools and goals to accomplishing the vision. Without a vision to keep them together, they're not going anywhere. Many people think they can skip that process or come back to it. But the truth of the matter is, without a vision for what accomplishment looks like in your heart and your mind before you get started, writing your goals, writing your plans, writing your strategies, writing out the tactics, understanding your competition, understanding your audience, those things are pretty near impossible without a vision. If your vision is to sell boxes to people who are moving, that's not a problem. But there are specific places that you want to advertise if the only people you're selling boxes to are those who are moving. There are places that putting your advertising out there about the boxes you have for sale would be absolutely irrelevant. Or you could spend the money doing it. Or you could certainly put the ads out there. You could certainly design the most fanciful letterhead and business cards and postcards and the whole thing. But if they don't appeal to the person moving, how many boxes are you going to sell? I actually went to work for a lady one time who boasted when she hired me that her letterhead and business cards had won multiple designs awards. Design awards for her letterhead and her business card. And I thought, well, that's awesome if you're in the graphic industry, if graphic arts is where you want. But see, her letterhead was a 3-color print on the back and a 4-color print on the front. They were expensive. They were like $300 for 1,000 letterhead. Well, what do you do with a letterhead? Well, do you do anything with a letterhead that generates that kind of money back? 30 cents a letterhead? That didn't include the envelope or the postage. And so as we began to talk about her business, she didn't even have a business yet. She didn't have a storefront. She knew where she wanted it to be, but she didn't have any of the tools, any of the equipment, any of the software, any of the customers. She had nothing to actually create the kind of business she wanted except a very fancy letterhead. Tens of thousands of dollars invested in a very fancy letterhead. The other challenge that it had was that the brand name that matched it was only this big on a sign out in front of the building, because the design of the logo was designed for a letterhead, not for drive down the road signage, and it didn't tell you what the business was. What happens when you don't have a vision? When you don't have your vision written out, you lose clarity, you lose accountability, and you lose the ability to reflect. So let's talk about those 3 things for just a moment. I really want to challenge you in this area. If you have a vision for 2018 and it stops at the end of 2018, I'm a little bit concerned about that. Now, you may have a vision that's 3 years, 5 years, even 20 years in the making, and what you're going to write down right now are the steps, the goals, the plans, the processes that must be accomplished in 2018 to move forward toward the accomplishment of this ultimate goal in the next 3, 5, 10, or 20 years. That's fine. But I will still say that if you don't have any idea what 3, 5, 10, 20 years looks like, what your plan is, what your vision is, what you feel like you're made for beyond the end of this year, then you're going to come to this end of the year and start all over again. If you have some idea what you're here for, what your purpose is, and your vision is written out over a long period of time, both to see you develop in the process to become the kind of person to live out the purpose you were made for, and to see the goals accomplished along the way, each step, each plan, each process executed, so that that lifetime goal can be achieved. Now, some people set lifetime goals like, I want to go to Hawaii. There's nothing wrong with going to Hawaii. There's nothing wrong with having that as something on your bucket list, so to speak. But if the value of your life, the purpose for your existence on this earth, your best gifts, your best talents, your best strategies, all rolled into one, come out to nothing more than a vacation trip, you're missing something. At the same time, if you haven't written down a vision for a 1, 3, 5, 10, 20-year plan, then it's really easy to get off course and get distracted by the shiny object syndrome, to get distracted by the vacation plan to Hawaii, to get distracted by life, children, grandchildren, jobs, job changes, career changes, relocations, all of the fun that comes up in life. Now, if you have a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year, a 10 year, a 20-year vision that you can look at and go, when I look at the makeup of me and the purpose that I'm on this earth and the relationships that I have with other people who will be a part of that vision and its finality and its fruition, when I look at those things, I realize that these daily consequences of life are either preparing me for the process to be the kind of person I need to be to live out that vision, or they're distractions, and I've got to be able to sort them to one column or another. When that vision is written out, it's real easy to ask the question, is this circumstance? Are the problems in my current environment, are they leading me through a process to be a better me, to fulfill this vision for my life? Or are they distractions that will keep me from? If you don't have that vision written out, it's real easy to play fast and loose with it. It's real easy to be ambiguous about it and go, well, I thought it was going to be like that, but it's really probably going to be more like this. Or I thought I was going to do that, but I really like this better. And then it becomes really easy to change on a whim. My wife and I, when we met 24 years ago now, when we first met, on our first unofficial date, I asked her, what do you feel like your 5-year plan is? What is your goal? What do you think your life is about? And she said, I really feel like I'm here to impact broken families. I want to work with children of families that are struggling with divorce and other things like that. Then she asked me the same question, and the best answer I could give at that time was, I said, I want to travel around the world writing books and speaking about broken families and how to keep them together. And it was ironic that on our very first date, we could look down the road and see where our visions, our purposes lined up, where what we were made for, what our hearts swelled for, what our minds were focused on, were very, very similar. Now, we've been through a lot of circumstances that, through the course of the 23 years that we've been married, don't look anything like what we believe we're here for. But having discussed that and written that plan out, and from time to time through seasons of our life, we craft new areas of this. We see new resources come around. We see new opportunities come around. We see new relationships come around, and we think, well, that's going to be great for a season. It will help prepare us for a season. It will grow us up for a season, but that's not the long-term portion of our journey. That's not where we're headed. We don't want to be distracted and go down that road for 20 years and never accomplish what we were originally put here for. But there are also those times that tough times come along and we think, God, why do we have to deal with this? Why are we going through this struggle? Why do we have these circumstances in our life? And in all honesty, we can look back now on many of them, and even some of the ones we're wrestling with now, and say, if not for that struggling season, the opportunity, the power, the transformation in us, the metamorphosis that we would have to go through to make us ready to help families that are broken, it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be the same resolution in our own capacity. Maybe you're struggling with something right now and you're asking, why me? Why does this keep coming? Why am I still wrestling with this? Why is it not going away? Why can't I solve this problem? All of these are somebody else's challenges and they're affecting my life. Why is that so? Can I tell you for certain? If you'll take the time now to write down your vision, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, and it may look like all I see is the big picture for now. That's fine. Get a good grip on the big picture and realize that there are people in your life today who will be a part of that big picture 5, 10, 20 years from now. And there are people who are part of your life today that may not be around 5 months from now. And that's okay. Both of those are good things if they come and go for the right reason. Without the clarity of your vision, you won't know the answer to that question. There are people who come into your life for a season and then leave, and they come back later and you're both stronger and you're both wiser and you both know things that you didn't know when you were together before. And it's almost like a brand new relationship, only now there's a trust factor built from the history and the time and watching them grow and then watching you grow. A written vision allows you to look back and go, where does this person fit in my life? What do their skills, their talents, and their passions, where do they line up with my vision? What is it that we're called to that's entirely different? Next, it brings accountability. So first is clarity, next is accountability. That's another advantage of writing down your vision. It's real easy to have some ambiguous goals that you say, this year I want to lose the weight, put away money in savings, save for my retirement, buy a new house or a new car. All of those are nice goals. All of those are going to require something of you along the way, where you're going to have to do something today to make that goal possible tomorrow, next month, the next week, next year. Those are great. They're great motivators. Those are great ways to keep you moving forward into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, especially if there's something like a new car, a new house, new job, new career, new education level that are the rewards at the end of doing all the hard work to get there. Doing all the hard work with no reward at the end, probably not going to keep you motivated. But having written down both what the reward is and as many of the steps as you can see to get there, that level of accountability allows someone else to come alongside you, someone that you care about, someone who cares about you, and say, hey, I thought you were working toward buying that car, for an example. Wasn't your plan to put away a couple $100s a week to be able to do that and buy it in cash? Can you still do that if you're buying new video games, if you're upgrading your cell phone, if you're buying this new widget and that new gadget and these new shoes and that new tie? If you're spending your money every week, are you really able to set aside what you need to pay that full amount in cash? Have you given up on that reward? Have you lost sight of the daily diligences necessary to have that reward? See, accountability means writing out that vision and each of the steps and the plans, all of the tactics that you're going to need to accomplish it in such a way that you can share it with others who care about you. If that goal is to lose weight and you've made that announcement to those who care about you and you've written it down, it's not just lose weight. That's too ambiguous. It's not just I'm going to lose 5 pounds. Maybe it's I'm going to lose 5 pounds every month through the course of this year. Well, 5 pounds a month is not a big stretch. 5 pounds a month is very doable. But by the end of the year, that's 60 pounds. What happens when it comes Thanksgiving? And you've been on track and you've been losing the 5 pounds all day. Do you give up at Thanksgiving and go, well, I did good until now. I've lost the 35 or 40 pounds that I should have up to this point. I'm just going to quit. If you've got that goal written down, it's real easy for somebody else to come alongside you and go, 5 pieces of pecan pie, probably a little much if you're still trying to lose 5 pounds a month. Have you given up on that goal? Have you lost sight of the reward? And see, even in a goal like that, you can set yourself a reward. I'm going to buy an entirely new outfit when I reach the end of the year and I've lost 60 pounds because I won't even look the same. I'll need new clothes, but I'm not going to buy new clothes all year. I'm going to save the money for a really nice outfit, but it's only there if it's the reward for losing X amount of weight. You follow me? Again, writing those things out will give you a way to look back and go, this is the clarity. I'm going to lose 5 pounds each month. I'm going to save $10 each month by not buying all the snacks and stuff. At the end of the year, I'll have 60 pounds gone and $120 for a new dress or a new pair of slacks or a new dress shirt or whatever it is. Writing those things out allows you to mentally go through the process of clarifying what is it that I'm trying to accomplish, what is the reward for that, and how will I know that I'm on track at any given point. The accountability part of that is anybody who you have given access to, anybody who you trust and respect to be there for you, to push you a little harder, to motivate you for that reward. You give them the access to that plan, to the goals, to the steps within it. I'm going to stop eating a donut every day so that I can lose 5 pounds each month. And I'll save the $2 on the donut each day, and at the end of the month, that'll be $50. Well, now you're looking at the end of the year and you got closer to $300 and 60 pounds gone and $300 in savings, and you have a chance to go buy a really nice suit or take yourself on a mini cruise or something. But writing it out gives you the clarity of what it will be, what it's going to take to get there. It gives you the accountability of somebody who can come along at any point and go, how's that coming? How many donuts have you skipped? How many donuts have you eaten? How much of that money have you put in savings? How much do you have toward that dress or suit or vacation? Have you picked your vacation or your suit or your dress? Do you know where you're going to get it from? Or have you put a price tag on it? Do you have a picture of it in your office or in your cubicle or next to your bedside so that you see it on a regular basis and go, that's why I'm skipping my donuts, because I love my donuts? Now, what is it that's motivating you? And what are you being accountable for? Is there someone who's willing to come alongside you and go, I thought you were going to, or maybe you ought to, or how can I help you? And if you know friends who have set goals for 2018, who have not lined them out clearly, but you care about them, will you ask them, hey, what are your goals? How can I help hold you accountable? How can I help you achieve the goals that you've already established? What are the rewards that are in front of you? And of course, the final, and I think one of the most powerful aspects of writing out your vision is the ability to reflect. At any given point, to look back on what you've written down and say, wow, I'm really doing good with this, or I'm so off track, it's not even funny. Reflection is that thing that allows us to look inside and say, I'm doing well with what I said I was going to do. Or I'm not doing so well. I haven't reached the financial goals that I set for myself. I haven't reached the dietary goals that I've set for myself. I haven't reached the educational goals that I've set for myself. I haven't read as many books as I thought I was going to read. I haven't looked for as many jobs as I thought I was going to look for. And the reflection allows you to ask some really tough questions. Am I really living for the vision? 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year vision. Am I really living for that thing? Am I living out my purpose? Are my gifts, my skills, my talents, my abilities, are they rolled into this vision? Is every single day a marked impression of something that I've done to move me toward that final accomplishment? Or do I simply find myself muddling through the day, dealing with every crisis that comes up, with no way to sort out the people who come into my life, the challenges that come into my life, the experiences that come into my life, and decide honestly, are they benefiting me toward my vision or are they not? Are they moving me one step closer to the plans and the goals that I have to accomplish my vision? Or are these just distractions? Are these people, places, and things that take my time, my talent, my treasures, my attention away from the vision? Because I can tell you something as an absolute truth. If you have a vision, if you have goals, if you have daily plans to accomplish those goals so that they can combine to accomplish your vision, then you will have obstacles. Now, that's not to say that if you say, well, I don't want obstacles, I won't have a vision, I won't have a plan. Well, then you have a whole lot more obstacles because you spend your life wandering around in a maze. And I don't know anybody who likes to wander around in a maze. Most people want to get to where they're going at some point. Without a written vision, you won't know if you're wandering around in a maze or not. Without goals, you won't know if you're wandering around in a maze or not, or if you're making progress toward them. If you don't want to wander around in a maze, write out your goal. Write out your vision. Establish the goals that need to be accomplished on the short term and the long term to see that vision happen. My wife and I are still working on the same vision that we started with over 23 years ago. Each layer and element of what will make us successful in that. And I'll give you a little secret. You may have heard me say this a couple of times. I'll say it again here. what we believe God has called us to build is not just the idea of helping families who are struggling, but to build a place called the Chateau, which is a family learning and leadership institute. It's a place for families to come who are struggling, to receive help, to receive insights, to receive training, to receive some leadership skills that maybe they're not using in their family or in their life, so they can write out a family vision, so they can develop a purpose for their own family, so they can understand why they're here and what they're doing and how their goals fit together and how their skill sets fit together. Because that will strengthen the family. One day, we'll build that. One day, we'll have the Chateau Leadership Institute for Families. And I hope you'll be a part of it. But that's a long-range goal. And every day we invest in learning, in study, in equipment, in tools, in resources, in friends, in family, looking for just the right time, looking for just the right place, looking for just the right opportunity for all those resources to come together and begin to launch what we've been building for 20 years. What about you? Do you have anything written down that if something happened to you, someone else could pick up that ball and go, I got all the plans, I got the details, I know what we're going to do, I know what goes into this, I know what happens here. I know that I'm supposed to accomplish this for them because they didn't get to finish it. If you don't have your plans written down, there's no way to define the clarity that someone else could carry on with. There's no way to define the accountability for someone else to come in behind you and encourage and empower you to complete the journey. And there's no way for you to reflect on it and say, where am I so far? Have I made the progress I need to make up this point? Do I need to cover some ground quickly that I have failed to cover before? What's next? What do I need left to do? And what might be the legacy that I will leave behind as a result of this? What if my job is to dream it up and to craft as much of it as I can and then hand it off to the next generation for someone else to build it? It wouldn't be the first time. Gary Vee got his start selling for his parents. And now look at him. Many, many would-be empire builders didn't see the empire in their lifetime, but their children did. Have you written your vision clearly enough that 3, 5, 10, 20 years later, someone else can still be operating under the same vision? It's a good example. Look at Disney. You've probably heard the saying, when they had the first meeting and they opened Disney World the first time, someone said, wow, I wish Walt were here to see this. And his son said, are you kidding? He saw it 1,000,000 times in his mind. That's why it's here. Do you have a vision that clear in your mind? That when it finally is built, when the doors are open, when people walk in, that they experience what you've seen in your mind 1,000 times. Take the time to write out that vision so you can achieve the clarity of what it is, the goals and the steps necessary to get there, so that you can bring around you people that you trust and who love you to ensure the accountability that you are doing what's necessary today to make that happen one day. And reflect. You can't reflect on imagination as easily as you can something that's written down that you can look at it and say, this is what I planned on this date. These are the 10 things on the checklist that I've already accomplished. These are the 15 left to go. Take the time to write out your vision. Extract from that vision your goals and your plans, your daily habits that need to feed into it. And if you need help with that, you can reach me at excellentLifeLeadership.com or jlorennorris.com, and we can schedule a session to sit down and talk together about it. If you need a coach for an ongoing process, we can do that. But write out that vision, write out those goals, and commit yourself to them. If you don't write them down, it'll be easy to forget them and even easier to walk away. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV, also known as the Leading Leaders Podcast on iTunes. Have a blessed day.